Hello, welcome to episode 102 of the Epic Film Challenge to 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die. A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984, I believe. Kind of a horror classic, and a film that we reviewed and watched for the first and last time 5 years ago as part of the original Epic Film Challenge, which, for anyone who doesn't know, was just when we did, or me and Connie, sometimes on my own, 366 reviews in a year, and it was just all random movies. And so we decided, let's watch the Nightmare on Elm Street films for some reason. And we watched the entire series and really enjoyed it. But if you go back to that original review of A Nightmare on Elm Street, Connie hated it with a passion that defies belief. And we just watched it.
I just thought it really sucked and it was shit and horrible. And then I ended up going, but I really liked it.
Yeah, so we just watched this. We just watched this video, and I think we're getting to the point now, I suppose, in our relationship where enough time has passed that we can go back to a video we made, and it just seems like, wow, a lot has changed, you know.
Yeah. But I mean, your taste in things will change over the years. Yeah. Because you grow.
But you didn't just not like this film; you actively hated it, and. You know,
but I said I liked it as well. It's so weird.
It was a very weird video.
I'm so angry.
You were so angry. You were so angry.
I'm embarrassed.
And the classic line, what was it? No pain, no damage.
Because I said that my jaw was open for so much.
Right.
That actually was hurting. Oh my god, that was actually hurting. I wonder if my jaw was open because I was sleeping through most of it.
Right. Anyway, so we could talk about that for a while, but that was interesting. Yeah. We revisited it here because it's in the book, and we watched it about a week ago.
And my view on cinema has changed over the past few years a lot.
Now, the film itself, Nightmare on Elm Street, Wes Craven film, and Wes Craven, what a horror director, because he did a film like The Hills Have Eyes in the 70s, which is a fairly famous horror film, and then in the 80s he created this thing with Freddy Krueger, which went on to be this whole franchise, which Wes Craven didn't really have much say in, really. He did the first film and then the 7th one, and then in between other people took over. And then in the 90s he did the Scream movies, so he's really put his stamp on horror, and this was one of those moments. And it's a film about a group of teenagers, as horror films, a lot of them typically have, and they're being terrorized by this man who visits them in their dreams and has the power to hurt them in their dreams. A man called Fred Krueger, who was a child killer / maybe molester, we don't know. And he had a grisly death, and that's explained later on towards the end of the film how that happened. And he's coming back into the dreams of teenagers who give him the power of kind of the fear of him, I guess, and he's trying to basically kill them in their dreams. And we have a girl called Nancy who is realizing who this guy is, realizing what he can do, and she's trying to get people to believe her. She's trying to stop him, trying to think of ways to kind of end his reign of terror. So it's an interesting concept, and it's a cool idea because you have the notion of if you fall asleep you could die, because he might visit you in your dream and you're fucked. And so you need someone there to wake you up, or you need a plan, or you need to just stay up, and it's one of those classic films. You think of like icons of horror, you think of guys like Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, and Freddy Krueger is way up there, as realized by the actor Robert Englund, who is great in the role. Now, despite what we think about the whole series, as it progressed to welcome to primetime, bitch, and great graphics, like it just gets so ridiculous by the later sequels. But this one, Freddy is a little playful, but he's mostly sinister, and so it's fun to go back to this because most of my memory is the fun of the later movies, where they're really just playing it for entertainment value, whereas this one, it's more of a horror film, I think. So how do you feel revisiting it this time?
You sure you're done? I don't remember that much of the rest of the series, so I'd like to revisit that as well.
Yeah.
I really, really, really enjoyed it this time. And I think it's mainly because I view movies differently now.
Yeah.
Luke's forced me to watch these silent movies, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, everything from like the 10s even, something, you know? I've seen so many old movies and I have grown to respect and admire the way they made it back in that time. And so knowing this is from
84, I think. I'm fairly certain, yeah.
I found that the older the movie is, the more impressed I get by the effects. And I don't understand why... my mind... I must have been so narrow-minded back then because I didn't think the effects were all that bad.
Yeah, they're good. They're very good.
I like how... Well, obviously, I also mentioned that it seemed like they were on drugs or something when they made this movie. It's supposed to be in a dream. And so it's supposed to be weird.
Yeah.
There is a scene where she's gonna run up the stairs and her feet go through. It's like marshmallow, melted marshmallow.
Great moment.
I feel like having marshmallows. And it's like, oh, it's so great because that's what would happen in a movie. Like, something happens and you can't move. And there's no explanation for it. And all of a sudden, you're in a different place.
Yeah, and you did chuckle at it a little bit, but there's a scene in the film where another girl, she's in a dream and she's running.
Yeah.
And it looks like a really like fake run, and you kind of chuckle.
Yeah.
But I said I think that's intentional because her body is running, but the pace in which her body is moving across the screen is like a walking pace. So I don't know how they did it, but I feel like that was an intentional thing.
She was jogging in one place almost. She was jogging.
But she was still moving forward though. But it was not much, and so it's that thing of when you're trying to run in a dream, when you're not getting much traction, you're moving, but you're not really getting as far as you want to go. And so I liked all the little things that they did with that.
I'm like half and half on that. That might be what they were trying to do, but I think also that girl was just horrible. Like most of the acting in this movie, or some of it, isn't really that good.
Yes, Nancy's mother I find to be quite flat in the film. Just I mean, and her character is quite interesting, but she's just very one note, and I don't really like her acting. Nancy, the girl who plays Nancy, I think
she's okay.
Yeah, she's pretty good. For a film like this, I think she does really well. And again, sometimes with these horror films, it's rare to have the element of the horror, which in this case would be the dream scenario of Freddy Krueger. And sometimes the acting kind of falls by the wayside. It's rare that you get a horror film that has the horror element that works and has great acting at the same time.
The dad is probably the best actor in my eyes.
Yeah, he's I forget the guy's name, John Saxon I want to say, but yeah, he's good in the film. A kind of a small role from Lynn Shay, who's kind of found a new horror career in the is it the Insidious movies, or is it
really?
Yeah, you know, the old woman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And she plays a teacher briefly in the film. I was like, oh, it's the old woman from, well, not old, but you know.
Yeah, but she doesn't get to do enough to actually show that she knows how to act, I don't think.
No, but she's in the film briefly, and I was like, oh, it's her from the Insidious films.
And I want to say that as well. It's like all those dream scenes and stuff. I think they're really good.
Yeah.
I when I look at it and I'm thinking, okay, if I was watching this in the 80s, I would be terrified.
I think the one there's two.
I'm not watching it now though. But
there's two really great kind of iconic visual moments in the film. The first one is when Nancy's asleep in bed, she's staying over her friends, and the wall behind the bed.
That's great.
Freddy just comes through, and I think they just used like just like a sheet or something, or some kind of material. You know, it looks like a digital effect almost, but it's like really simple done. And
yeah,
then
but
also,
she knocks on the wall afterwards, so I think they pasted something over there.
I don't know exactly how they did it, but it worked very well. And then also the very suggestive shot of her asleep in the bath and Fred Krueger's glove coming up between her crotch. I think that's a very
that makes me feel really uncomfortable for many reasons.
As it's supposed to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I think that's really great too, because again, she's asleep, and every time she wakes up, it goes away, so you know that's when you really understand, okay, this is only happening when you're sleeping.
Yeah.
And then the bathtub is just endlessly deep.
Yeah, that's great.
And how many times have I thought about that when I've been in the bathtub and I'm not like thinking, what if the bottom just disappears now, you know? Like something...
I can't say I've ever had that fear myself.
No, No, but I mean, when I was younger, I would like kind of like fantasize that on the other side of the bottom of the tub was a different world, and I could just, if I dived in the right way, I would enter that world. Could be a good book. But yeah,
or a very bad book.
No, it's like Narnia, only through the bathtub.
Yeah.
Or any puddle.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just spoiled my new book coming out this November. A lot of great scenes, I think. I actually enjoy the scene where she sees him walking in the street. I think that's when she's running out in the street for the first time.
Yeah.
And his arms are so long.
Yeah.
And they're just scraping against something. And that's what you would dream about, because it's like stretching things.
Yeah.
You know?
Again, I think that, you know, by the latest sequels, there's no fear factor in Freddy Krueger. It's all entertainment. It's all just it's fun factor.
You cheer when he comes out.
And I still think at some points in this film he kind of loses his aura a little bit when he's kind of joking around and stuff. Well, not joking around, but he's being a bit playful. But the first scene we see him in, I think it's a genuinely creepy scene. Like, the lighting isn't quite fully on his face. There's something off about it, because obviously his face is all burned and stuff. But you can't quite see his face, and just his first scene in the film, I think, was really cool. And I think Robert Englund is great as Freddy Krueger. And we should probably mention that you drew him. You did a very good portrait of him, which I took to him in person in 2012.
You met him.
And in fact, I'll probably roll the clip of that just to show it to you, because I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you should do that. I want to see it again.
Here we go. Thanks, man. Okay, this is a drawing my fiance drew of you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. She photoshopped and composited it.
No, she drew it from scratch.
Wow. Wow.
Digitally from scratch on Photoshop.
Oh my god, this is so amazing.
So it took her like 10 hours, I think. But she can be here, so she obviously want me to...
What's her name?
Connie.
Connie.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do silver down here.
Okay.
C-O-N-N-I-E, right?
Yeah. That's awesome. Cheers. There's a copy there for you as well if you want it.
Oh, I get to keep... Oh, this is great. Oh, this is great. All right.
That's it, mate. So there you go. Very, very nice guy. I got to meet him, take a picture with him and stuff, and he's a very kind of fan-friendly guy. And but yeah, the film, I think the original is great. I really, really liked it. I enjoyed it a lot more this time, now that you weren't kind of bringing me down with your intense hate of it.
He originally rated it 7,
yes.
And I was so pissed off at him that he ended up pulling it down to 5.5.
Yeah, she bullied me into that. There was no, you know.
And I was like, okay. And I started out at a 1, and then I ended up at a 3,
ridiculous.
And then I ended up saying, I really liked it though.
And
how did you not leave me after that?
And I'm really enjoying not rating these films for this, but for the record, I would rate it higher than a 7 out of 10 now, because I enjoyed it more this time. And yeah, I just think that it's a really good horror film.
I bet you want to know what I would rate it now.
Go on then, let's just do it.
At least a 7.5.
Okay, there we go.
Might even be an 8.
Yeah, I think it's at least an 8. There's some good effects in it. It's a fun little story. It moves very quickly. I love the ending.
The acting
ending's
brings
a lot of
it
fun.
down for me.
Sure.
Not all of it, just some of it.
Sure.
The scene in the bedroom still bothers me. You try to protect the guy by saying that he thought he was dreaming. Right,
there's a scene where a girl gets killed and she's asleep, and so she's rolling around, there's blood coming out and stuff, and her boyfriend's like, Tina, like that, and he explained it later on to Nancy as, well, I didn't realise, I thought it must have been a dream, because it just seemed so, you know, like he was in shock, and so to me it fit within the story that he didn't try and help or anything, and that he was so dumbfounded by what he was seeing. I mean, if you saw that in real life, what the fuck would you do? You know, so for me,
probably throw up.
It's not an Oscar-winning performance, but watching it this time, I was expecting that scene to be terrible, but I actually thought it was very, very well done. And, the effect of her role,
her made it really go up there.
Sure, right.
So because that part where she is being tortured to death is actually brilliant. I really want to know how they did that. And there are other scenes as well where it's just so freaking like the blood coming out of the bed, but it goes up into the ceiling, so you know they flipped the bedroom around. And I just want to know, how did they do that, and how long did it take? I want to see the progress pictures, you know. Or time-lapse video is amazing. Yeah, so
we both really enjoyed it. Is it a film you must see before you die?
Yes.
Yes, I think it is. It's not like a oh yes, absolutely, but yeah, it is. I think that it's as far as horror films go, it's a really good one, and it launched this iconic character.
It's not that scary though.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's, you know, I think that a lot of horror films aren't necessarily scary, but they're effective, and
the thought around it is scary. I think.
Sure, yeah, the thought more than the actual execution of it. But I think that it's just an entertaining film, you know, and I like it, and you know, it has, and I love 80s movies anyway, so it kind of fits into that kind of section. But just generally, it's a really good one, and I think you should see it because it has an interesting concept that's done well. And is one of those horror characters that has kind of lived on. I mean, you know, Frankenstein, Dracula. There's waves and generations of these characters, and I don't quite feel like there's many that have come out over the past. I mean, there's been really good horror films lately over the past few years, 10 years or whatever. But there hasn't been many of those iconic characters. They tried to do it. You know, like say like the Saw movies with the Jigsaw, I suppose, but he's not quite there. You know, I just feel like there's something about these characters like Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers that just it's, and I feel like they're of their time as well.
But kids nowadays, like even down to like late teenagers or early 20s, not everyone knows who Freddy Krueger is. I bet that most people in my class has never seen the movies and they don't really know who he is.
I knew about him like throughout my whole childhood, and I didn't see the film until I was
we're older than them.
Yeah, but like.
But that's what I'm saying. Like with the Saw movies, those came out when they were kids.
Yeah.
And so they grew up with that, and so to them,
that
doll thingy is
I don't know.
Freddy Krueger.
But I just feel like they're very much of their time, I suppose, and it's just one of those things.
I've always heard about the movies. I just didn't watch it until Luke came along.
No, even like I remember being a kid and people singing, you know, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you and all that, and you know, it was it just permeated the culture, the pop culture, I suppose, like films and.
Yeah, I'd never heard that before either.
All right then, yeah.
1, 2. But maybe it's because I'm Norwegian.
yeah. So there we go. I thought we could cover this quickly, but it went on for over 17 minutes. But
and if you're gonna watch the old review, be prepared to be provoked by my pissed offness, because I felt genuinely embarrassed watching it.
Yeah.
I was so angry, and there is screaming, so you might not want to have the volume up too much.
Turn the volume down a tad, so it's just one of those things. We live and we learn, I guess. It's there for posterity, and we talk about the fact that we tried to film the review before, but you said to me I had to stop filming because Luke, you just looked so fat. So
and I did say those were not the exact words I said.
I didn't even remember. I didn't remember
that either.
That's that's the interesting thing about making so many videos. You can go back and
it's
think,
about the angle you film, right?
Sure. Yeah.
We all know about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, this is going off on a tangent, so thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Leave your thoughts down below about any of the Nightmare on Elm Street films, this one in particular. As far as the sequels go, second one I don't really like it that much. The third one I really, really enjoyed. The fourth one's pretty good. The fifth one's entertaining. The sixth one, it just got far too... The sixth one just was... Yeah, it's enjoyable for what it is, but it just went too far. I love the seventh one, New Nightmare. Brilliant film. I really want to revisit that one, but I think that this one might be my favourite. New Nightmare used to be my favourite, but I think this one, because it's just, it's the original, and I really, really enjoyed it this time around. Yeah. So, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.